Anytime something like this happens or is reported to have happened, we all have this tendency just to turn our minds off, let somebody else do the thinking for us, and just believe whatever mainstream news or government sources say. I do it, you do it. That's just kind of our tendency. None of us wants to think that there are people out there with nefarious reasons who are going to pull the wool over our eyes or deceive us because they want to promote some agenda or increase clicks or generate more revenue or whatever the reason is for misleading us and lying to us. And I'm not saying that what they say happened in Sri Lanka didn't happen, but what I am saying is any piece of information we get about things like this is almost always filtered through mainstream media and government outlets. And we know that both mainstream media and the government, time and time again, have lied to us about so many things that result in just horrible, horrible atrocities. They lead us to war, they rack up debt, people are killed, violence ensues, and it's all because they lied. I mean, think about just the last 2 years with the Trump-Russia collusion conspiracy. Mainstream media has done nothing but lie to us on that. So how can we believe them when they report on something like this? But I'm going to read part of this report, and I want to highlight something specific that I think we should all really pay attention to and think about. A series of 8 devastating bomb blasts ripped through high-end hotels and churches holding Easter services in Sri Lanka on Sunday, killing at least 207 people, including dozens of foreigners. The attacks were the worst acts of violence to hit the country in the decades since the end of a bloody civil war that killed up to 100,000 people, they say. For many in Sri Lanka, the apparently coordinated attacks brought back painful memories of life during the long-running conflict when bomb blasts were a frequent occurrence. Now think about this in your daily life. You get with your family, you drive to church, you're in a large crowd, or you go to a movie, or you go to a concert, or you go to a mall where there's a lot of people present. It sucks to know that some among us are so far gone that they would actually strap a bomb to their bodies and destroy countless lives. It's unthinkable. It's horrific. It's beyond words. More than likely, people who are listening to my video right now have never encountered a situation like that, and probably never will. But there are people all over the planet who are encountering these kinds of situations. Did this happen in Sri Lanka? I don't know. I don't know what happened there. But if it did, it's absolutely tragic. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but the government said, like we can believe them, really? The government said, and this article is being filtered through a mainstream media source. The government said 8 people had been arrested and investigators would look into whether the attacks had overseas links. The government also imposed a nationwide curfew and curbed social media access to restrict wrong information spreading in the country of 21 million people. The government, I don't care if you're talking about the Sri Lankan government, the United States government, the Australian government, the Chinese government, the government has imposed a nationwide curfew. So now, because of the acts of a few, the many are going to be punished. A nationwide curfew. And curb their access to social media. So they shut down social media to restrict wrongful information. The government's doing this. And the dishonest mainstream media is reporting on this. So what can we believe? But if they did do this, and I wouldn't put it past them to do this, a dishonest government trying to curb the spread of wrongful information is nothing short of a grave and hilarious irony. In this article from The Guardian, the Sri Lankan government blocked access to social media sites in the aftermath of the attacks that killed at least 207 people in a bid to stop the spread of misinformation that could lead to further violence. What is the basis of government? What fundamental building block makes government government? It is the initiation of force and violence on innocent people who haven't done anything wrong, while the government commences to plundering the people that they claim to protect and serve. Just stop and ask yourself a question. Since no government has ever shown that it truly cares about the people, and since government has shown time and time again that it just wants to keep you around as tax cattle to keep them in power and to keep them wealthy, does it make sense that governments who specialize in lying to the people are genuinely trying to protect you with fresh rounds of censorship? Does it make any sense that a government wants to limit the spread of misinformation for your benefit? Do you really trust that? So the Sri Lankan government is blocking access to social media sites to keep the spread of misinformation down. Misinformation that could lead to further violence that the government specializes in. And that's what I wanted to focus on, guys. Social media shut down in Sri Lanka in bid to stem misinformation. In the midst of a tragedy, you do not want to stem the flow of any information. And you definitely don't want to filter all information through government and mainstream media sources. This does not curb misinformation. This is like a petri dish that cultures misinformation. You want to rapidly spread misinformation on this planet? Let your only outlet for that information be mainstream media and government. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Governments show every single day that they are not the friends of the people. Mainstream media shows us every day that they are not the friends of the people. The best thing you can do when a horrific situation like this goes down is to let independent journalists, that's the people of each and every country, let them record what they see. Let them report on what they see. Will there be misinformation? Of course. But the more information we get, and the more informers we have, the better chance we have of getting to the bottom of the truth. Freedom is dangerous. Some people will use their freedom to spread misinformation and harm others. And even though that kind of freedom is dangerous, I'd rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery. Because the only thing that's more dangerous than freedom is not having it. Let the world, the Google Thought Police, and censorship-loving governments know what you think about this in the comments section below. If you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. Also, check out over 100 hard-hitting designs in the shirt store, and if you want to support more content, hit me up on Patreon or PayPal. All those links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.